Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, fearless treasure hunters and fellow coin lovers, because today we're diving into the exciting world of modern nickels that could make you rich, especially if you know exactly what to look for in the Jefferson nickel minted in 1994. That's right, that ordinary-looking 5-cent piece from 1994 that many people toss into change jars or overlook in daily transactions could secretly be worth a small fortune should it have the right combination of mint mark, pristine mint state condition, and rare minting errors. So grab your magnifying glass, because what we're about to reveal might just make you take a second look at every nickel you ever come across. The Jefferson Nickel series, first introduced back in 1938, features the iconic profile of America's third president by sculptor Felix Schlag on the obverse and his elegant Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1994, these coins were so common that people rarely paid attention to them, despite the fact that some minted in that year at either the Denver Mint, marked with a tiny D below the date, the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, or the San Francisco Mint, marked by an S, are now being hunted down by serious collectors for outrageous sums of money. What makes these coins valuable has everything to do with how perfect they are and whether they contain minting mistakes that slip through quality control, tiny flaws from the mint itself that turn average coins into rare and pricey collector's pieces. One of the most sought-after varieties in a 1994 Jefferson nickel is the double die error. This happens during the die production process when a die receives a doubled image that then gets stamped onto coins. These errors create a ghost-like doubling in inscriptions such as Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or in the digits of the date 1994. Even minor doubling can add serious value if the coin is in superb condition, but dramatic doubling can catapult its worth into unbelievable territory. Then there are off-center strikes, caused when the metal blank doesn't sit correctly beneath the die, leaving a crescent-shaped gap on the rim and squeezing the design to one side. There are also fill die errors that produce strange blobs or missing corners of letters, and die cracks that appear like raised lines or veins across Jefferson's face or Monticello, all of which push value sky-high when preserved in their original mint-fresh condition. And that brings us to the most important point: condition. To be truly valuable, a 1994 Jefferson nickel needs to be in mint state, meaning it must retain its original gleaming luster with no signs of circulation or handling. Under grading standards used by major authentication services like PCGS and NGC, top-quality nickels score MS 65 and higher, with the elite coins often scoring MS 67, MS 68 and above. Even rarer are the ones designated as full steps, which means that every one of the steps in front of Monticello is perfectly visible and fully struck. Most nickels struck for circulation show weak steps due to worn dies, so finding a 1994 Jefferson nickel with bold full steps in brilliant mint state, especially one with a dramatic doubling or striking error, puts it into a league of its own. Picture this: you're sorting through a pile of pocket change or going through rolls of nickels from the bank just for fun. You suddenly come across a 1994 nickel that looks unusually bright. You flip it under a bright light and notice Jefferson's portrait gleams with sharp clarity. You can even count the individual curls in his hair and see fine lines in his coat that normal circulated nickels don't display. You turn it over and the steps of Monticello jump out clearly, every one visible with no flattening. Then your heart skips a beat when you realize something else: the word Liberty looks slightly doubled and the date 1994 shows faint shadowing. You've just stumbled across a strong double die in mint state condition with full steps. You send it to be graded, and when it comes back certified as a high mint state example with an error designation, you discover you've just unlocked a modern nickel dream, a coin that collectors will fight to acquire and dealers will pay remarkable sums for. It's discoveries like this that keep people searching through their change or buying rolls of nickels to hunt for hidden gems. That thrill of possibility, that the next coin you pluck from a handful might be an ultra-rare variety worth tens of thousands of dollars, is why the Jefferson nickel remains one of the most exciting modern treasures in American coin collecting. So don't overlook that 1994 nickel ever again. Examine every detail closely, check the mint mark, check the lettering for doubling, observe Jefferson's portrait and Monticello for die breaks, off-centers, or filled areas. And most importantly, make sure it still glows like new with that beautiful mint state luster. Because the world's next record-setting coin doesn't have to be centuries old, it could be something as modern as a 1994 nickel that you already have in your change. Today we are time-traveling straight back to the mid-1980s to uncover the unbelievable secrets behind a coin that millions of people once carried without a second thought, the United States of America Jefferson nickel dated 1984. While it may look just like any ordinary 5-cent piece lost in pocket change or tucked into a dusty coin jar, a rare few of these coins have become astonishing treasures for collectors, selling for shockingly high prices when they possess the right mint mark, perfect mint state condition and certain eye-catching mint errors that slipped out of production undetected. So open your eyes wide and get ready, because you might be just one Jefferson nickel away from discovering a hidden fortune. The famous Jefferson nickel design has been circulating since 1938, proudly displaying Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and a dignified view of his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1984, billions of nickels had been minted at both the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, bearing a tiny D under the date. Older collectors sometimes overlooked these modern dates, but as the decades have passed, the numismatic world has woken up to a thrilling realization. Some of the finest 1984 Jefferson nickels, especially those with mint errors and blazing mint state luster, are now fiercely contested by collectors who are paying top dollar prices to secure the rarest examples. Understanding these coins means watching for two key things: condition and errors. Starting with condition, the most valuable 1984 nickels are those that never actually circulated. These coins, often preserved by chance inside sealed coin rolls, mint sets, or forgotten boxes in someone's basement, still gleam with that bright satiny luster of a freshly struck coin. When collectors send them to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, the highest coins achieve grades of MS 65, MS 66, MS 67, and occasionally even higher. Better still is when the coin earns the coveted full steps designation, meaning all 6 steps at the entrance of Monticello are completely visible and sharply struck. Finding a 1984 nickel with full steps is extraordinarily difficult due to weak striking in that era, so if yours has it, that's your first sign of something special. Next come the mint errors, the hidden surprises that turn a nice coin into a spectacular one. The most dramatic is the double die variety, caused when the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly during its creation. These errors show shadow-like doubling in words such as liberty or in God we trust, or, most dramatic of all, in the digits of the date 1984. Even subtle doubling can boost value when combined with mint state condition. Other prized errors include off-center strikes that leave a wide crescent of blank metal on one side, clipped planchets where a chunk is missing from the edge, and die cracks, raised, vein-like lines spreading across Jefferson's shoulder or across Monticello. Sometimes the mint mark D itself appears punched in the wrong location or doubled, all extremely collectible during quality grading. Imagine it, you crack open an old box of coins saved by a relative, or you're hunting through rolls from a bank, just killing time, when suddenly one nickel catches your eye beneath the light. The shine is incredible, like it was struck yesterday. You flip it over, Monticello steps are clean and bold, rims are sharp and undamaged. You lean in, squinting through your magnifying glass, and there it is, doubling on the date and letters, or perhaps a shocking off-center strike that makes the coin instantly unique. Your heart starts pounding. You slip it into a protective holder and send it away for grading. Weeks later it comes back in a thick slab labeled, Mint State 67 full steps, obvious mint error. That's not just a lucky find anymore, that's a rare discovery targeted by high-end Jefferson nickel collectors who will stop at nothing to win it at auction. These are exactly the modern tales coming out of the coin world right now, everyday people finding premium rarities hiding in the most surprising places. That's why collectors refuse to dismiss dates like 1984. They know that the combination of a top-tier grade, a flashy full-step strike, and a genuine mint error can skyrocket a coin's value from pocket change to small fortune. So from now on, never throw your 1984 nickels into a pile without looking carefully. Turn them under a bright light, study their strike quality, search for mint marks, doubling and oddities. It might seem like just 5 cents, but knowledge turns that nickel into pure potential. Today we are stepping back into the early 1970s to explore a coin that might be hiding in your change jar, unknowingly worth a small fortune if you know what clues to look for. We're talking about the United States of America Jefferson nickel dated 1972, a 5-cent coin most people have spent without even a second thought, yet hidden among them are incredibly rare specimens that command huge prices among collectors thanks to a prized mix of mint errors, perfect condition, and historical scarcity. So sit tight, grab that magnifying glass, and prepare to examine every 1972 nickel you come across, because this is one modern coin that truly delivers jaw-dropping surprises. The Jefferson Nickels series first began in 1938 and is instantly recognizable for its proud portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse, designed by Felix Schlag. The 1972 nickels were struck at 3 U.S. mints. If there's a tiny D beneath the date, you're looking at one made in Denver, an S means San Francisco, and no mint mark at all means yours was minted in Philadelphia. While millions of these nickels were produced, the overwhelming majority were spent down to dull, scratched pieces that show very little detail. That is exactly why pristine, untouched examples still glowing with original mint luster, especially those with dramatic mint-made errors, have become lightning rod rarities worth real money today. There are several mint varieties that collectors chase fiercely in the 1972 Jefferson nickel. Among the most famous is the double die variety, caused when a die accidentally stamped the coin twice out of alignment. The letters of Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or even the numbers in 1972 itself may appear doubled, shadowed, or thickened in unusual ways when viewed under magnification. Another valuable variation from this year is the full steps strike. These are coins where all the steps leading up to Monticello appear clearly and sharply defined. Because weak striking pressure or worn dies usually flatten these steps almost immediately, finding a 1972 nickel with complete full steps is extremely rare, especially if the surfaces remain flawless and uncirculated. Also on the radar are eye-catching mint errors such as off-center strikes, where the design is shifted and part of the metal blank shows as empty, clipped planchets, where a curved piece is missing from the rim, broad strikes, where a coin is struck without its rim collar and spreads out, and die cracks, which show up as raised jagged lines across Jefferson's coat or Monticello's walls. The combination of a dramatic error with top-notch preservation catapults the value to astounding levels. That's why treasure hunters spend countless hours searching through bank rolls of nickels, hoping to uncover that one perfect, untouched 1972 coin displaying both a spectacular strike and an unmistakable error. Condition is always king. Nickels in circulated condition will not bring high prices. It's the coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC in mint state that become legendary. When a 1972 nickel earns a grade such as MS 65, MS 66, or MS 67 along with a full steps designation, collectors immediately notice. Add in a double die error or dramatic strike anomaly and the coin becomes one of the finest known examples, and that's exactly where huge money enters the conversation. Picture this wonderful possibility: you're searching through old coins inherited from family or pouring unsearched rolls from a local bank under a bright light. One nickel shines differently. The luster is still bright and satin-like across the fields. Lincoln's hair detail remains crisp, and the rims are sharp. You flip it over and realize every step on Monticello is clearly defined. Then your pulse quickens when you notice something odd in the date, slight doubling, thickening, or even an off-center alignment. You package the coin carefully and send it to PCGS for grading. A few weeks later the results come back, MS 67 full steps with a double die obverse, and you suddenly realize you're holding a major auction-level rarity. That's the kind of dream that powers the passion of collectors everywhere. The truth is, valuable coins aren't always centuries old or made of gold. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, disguised as everyday change from decades ago, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows the signs of value. So whenever you come across a Jefferson nickel dated 1972, stop and look carefully. Does it still glow with mint luster? Are there sharp details in Jefferson's coat and on Monticello's steps? Are there unusual spreads in the lettering that could indicate doubling? Is the strike off-center, thick or oddly misshapen? Every small clue might signal that you have found a coin worth far, far more than 5 cents. Today we're uncovering the fascinating secrets of a coin that might look completely ordinary, yet could quietly be worth a massive fortune to the right person. We're talking about the United States of America Jefferson nickel dated 1987, a small 5-cent coin that most people pass over without a second thought. But what makes this year's Jefferson nickel so thrilling is that under very specific circumstances, the perfect mint mark, untouched mint state condition, and dramatic mint-made errors, this everyday coin has surprised collectors by selling for truly unbelievable amounts of money. So grab your magnifier and get ready, because you might just be sitting on a hidden gem disguised as a simple nickel from 1987. The Jefferson Nickel series, which has been running since 1938, features the proud image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, and his historic home Monticello on the reverse. By 1987, the U.S. Mint was producing nickels for circulation at both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, marked with a D, and collectors also saw specially struck proof coins from San Francisco carrying the S mint mark. The vast majority of 1987 Jefferson nickels were spent in everyday circulation, subjected to wear, scratches, surface damage and dulling. But a tiny handful escaped that fate. They were saved in mint rolls, forgotten in drawers, or preserved in perfect, untouched bank-fresh condition. Those coins, especially when showing astounding errors or variety features, are exactly the ones auction houses love to spotlight, turning what looks like spare change into highly coveted collectibles. There are a few special signs that make a 1987 Jefferson nickel tremendously valuable. One of the most sought after is the double die error, where a die accidentally strikes the coin twice slightly off-center, causing letters such as Liberty or I in God We Trust, or even the digits in the date, 1987, to appear doubled under magnification, giving them a shadowy or thickened appearance. Such an error draws major attention from collectors, but even more so when combined with absolute mint brilliance and a sharply struck reverse. Other prized mint errors from 1987 include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, die cracks that look like raised jagged lines running across Jefferson's portrait or Monticello, and clipped planchets where part of the metal is missing from the edge, all extremely collectible when found in pristine condition. However, none of these errors mean anything without top-level preservation. That's where grading comes in. Coins that have never entered circulation, known as mint state coins, that still retain that bold factory luster, crisp lettering and sharp strike are graded by services like PCGS and NGC on a scale up to MS 70. The truly rare and valuable 1987 nickels grade out at MS 66, MS 67, or higher, and the ultimate prize is one with the coveted full steps designation, where every step leading to Monticello is completely defined. Because most coins from this date were struck with weaker detail or were roughed up in commerce, finding a 1987 nickel with both mint state condition and full steps is like finding buried treasure. Now just imagine yourself sorting through a handful of old change or a roll of nickels from the bank. You spot a 1987 Jefferson nickel that gleams under the light. Something about it looks special. The surfaces are flawless, with no scratches or dull spots. You flip it over and see those beautiful steps of Monticello, every one sharp and bold. Your heart begins to race. Then, when you examine the lettering more carefully with a magnifier, you notice subtle doubling around the word Liberty or in the digits of the date. That's when you realize that your little nickel might be something truly extraordinary. You send it off to be professionally graded, it comes back encapsulated as a high-end mint state full steps double die, and suddenly your casual coin roll hunt turns into an unforgettable headline, because collectors will now pay absolutely mind-blowing sums to own a top-tier version of this coin. These are the real-life stories happening in the modern coin market today, and this is why Jefferson nickels, even from the relatively recent year of 1987, should never be ignored. Every time you pour coins from a jar, search an old dresser or crack open a roll from the bank, check every date, inspect the mint mark, and study the surfaces for mirrored luster, strong strike, and unusual doubling. Because the next incredible discovery could be sitting right in front of you disguised as pocket change. Today we're uncovering the shocking truth about a coin that almost everyone overlooks in their daily life, the United States of America Jefferson nickel dated 1990. This small 5-cent coin has long been tossed in change jars, spent in vending machines and ignored inside wallets, yet under just the right circumstances it can transform into an incredibly valuable rarity worth far more than anyone would expect. You might even be holding one right now without realizing its hidden power. The real question is, do you know how to spot the difference between an ordinary 1990 Jefferson nickel and one that could bring a life-changing payday? The Jefferson Nickels series has been part of American life since 1938, featuring President Thomas Jefferson's classic profile on the front and his estate Monticello on the reverse. By 1990, billions of these nickels had been minted at the major United States mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked by a small letter D beneath the date; and San Francisco, with an S, typically for proof coins. Most 1990 nickels went straight into circulation where they were worn down over years of continual use. As a result, finding one in pristine condition today, especially untouched, full mint state brilliance with no scratches, marks or dulling, is extremely rare. It's exactly those perfect survivors, especially when combined with unusual mint errors, that are causing massive headlines in the numismatic world. One key feature that sets a highly collectible 1990 nickel apart from the rest is a mint error, a production mistake made at the U.S. Mint that slipped through quality control. The most desirable is the double die error, where the die impresses the design twice onto the coin at slightly different angles. When this happens, letters like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or the digits in the year 1990 appear to be doubled or shadowed. These doubling signs are usually visible under magnification and are a major indicator of rarity. Other coveted mint errors include off-center strikes, where the design is pressed off its normal position, leaving a blank crescent; clipped planchets, where a part of the rim is missing as if someone bit the coin; filled die errors that distort lettering; and die cracks that appear as long raised lines across Jefferson's cheek or across Monticello. Then there's the most critical factor of all: condition. Coins are graded by services like PCGS and NGC using a 70-point scale, and only those untouched by circulation can receive high mint state grades. Most valuable 1990 nickels are found in grades like MS 66, MS 67, or better. Even more thrilling is when the coin receives the coveted full steps designation, meaning every step on Monticello is visibly and sharply struck. A 1990 Jefferson nickel with full steps and a major mint error is the absolute holy grail for collectors. These coins are not just rare, they are ultra rare. Picture the thrill of finding one. You're sorting through an old collection your grandfather kept in a tin box, or opening nickel rolls from the bank, when suddenly one coin catches the light. Its surface gleams with original mint luster, no dark spots, no scratches, no dulling. You turn it in your fingers and see the D mint mark, perfectly crisp. The Monticello side looks incredible, every step on the staircase is fully defined. Then, heart pounding, you grab a loop and look at the date. Is it your imagination, or do you see the digits in 1990 doubled with a faint shadow? You send the coin in for authentication and weeks later it comes back graded as an ultra-high mint state full steps double die variety. Suddenly, that little coin that once passed hands for 5 cents is now worth more money than most people earn in an entire year. This kind of discovery is not just fantasy, it's the exact reason collectors and treasure hunters obsess over Jefferson nickels from even relatively modern dates like 1990. Lightning can strike where you least expect it. So whether you're searching junk drawers, old inherited jars, or fresh bank rolls, never overlook a 1990 nickel. Check the mint mark, examine the surfaces under bright light, use magnification to spot doubling in letters and numbers, inspect Monticello and judge the sharpness of its steps. Because the difference between ordinary change and extraordinary fortune might simply be the patience to look just a little closer, and here is the truth that keeps collectors searching through every nickel they can get their hands on: a flawless, uncirculated 1990 Jefferson nickel with bold full steps detail and a dramatic double die mint error has sold for an astonishing auction value of $75,000.